Welcome to the deep dive. You know how it is, you're looking at one RC car, see a cool part on another, and you start wondering?
The classic will it fit question.
Exactly. So a listener asked about using these front shock post stabilizers from the Tamiya Rising Fighter.
Ah, right. The braces for the front shock towers?
Yeah, they want to know if they'd fit on their Grasshopper the Second.
Yeah.
And, while we're at it, maybe an original Grasshopper. Or even a Hornet.
Okay, interesting question. Those specific parts, the stabilizers, they're actually the front shock tower braces. They come on the Rising Fighter's D parts.
D parts, right, like the plastic frame with all the bits attached?
Precisely. Part number 9005919. And yeah, community discussions confirm they're basically there to reinforce the shock towers.
Which makes sense because those standard plastic towers, especially if you upgrade the shocks, they can flex a bit, can't they?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
So these braces add stiffness, it helps the dampers, the shock absorbers work better, and just makes the whole front end a bit tougher. Less flex means more precise suspension action.
Now, the key here, I think, is that the Rising Fighter itself, it's basically built on the Grasshopper the Second chassis, isn't it?
That's the crucial link, which suggests, compatibility might be pretty straightforward for the Grasshopper the Second.
But the original Grasshopper and the Hornet, they use an older, different chassis design altogether, right? So maybe not so simple there.
Exactly. That's where we might run into problems. So our mission really is to confirm, do these stabilizers fit the Grasshopper the Second, the original Grasshopper, and the Hornet?
Let's nail it down. Starting with the Grasshopper the Second, it's got that independent front suspension, upper mounts for dampers built into the chassis tub.
Yeah, and people often upgrade those to oil-filled dampers, which puts more stress on the mounts.
So the big question, do the Rising Fighter braces just bolt on?
And the answer is yes, a definite yes. Because like you said, the Rising Fighter is essentially a Grasshopper the Second underneath. They share the exact same main chassis tub.
Same part number.
Yep, 0335092 for the tub. And they also share the front suspension arms, the A parts, 0005348, and some other miscellaneous bits, even the bumper, I think.
Wow, okay. So it's pretty much confirmed then.
Absolutely. If you look on places like Tamiya Club forums, it's common knowledge. The Rising Fighter uses the GH2 chassis, and the D-part sprue, the one with the braces, comes with the Rising Fighter kit.
So for our listener with the Grasshopper the Second, the process would be, what? Get the Rising Fighter D parts.
Right, part 900-05919.
Position the braces against the front shock towers on their Grasshopper II.
They fit right against the existing towers.
And just screw them in, probably with some 3mm tapping screws.
That's pretty much it. It seems like Tamiya themselves identified that slight flex as something to improve upon. Adding these braces in the later Rising Fighter was like a running change, an iterative improvement.
A clever little upgrade using existing tooling, essentially, addressing a known, maybe minor weakness.
Exactly. Okay, so Grasshopper the Second, thumbs up now. The original Grasshopper.
Yeah, that one's much simpler up front, isn't it? Yeah. Just coil springs between the lower arms and the chassis tub itself. Yeah. No real shock towers like on the Soak.
Precisely. It's a very basic design. And its chassis tub, part number 0335050, is fundamentally different from the Grasshopper the Second Rising Fighter tub. Completely different layout.
So those Rising Fighter braces, they need specific mounting points on proper shock towers, which the original Grasshopper just doesn't have.
Correct. There's nowhere to actually attach them in the way they were designed.
So not even a maybe. Like, could you modify it?
I mean, you could probably hack something together, but it would involve major surgery on the chassis tub, likely irreversible cutting or drilling.
Yeah.
And honestly, it wouldn't be worth it. There are other ways people upgrade the original Grasshopper front end that are actually designed for that chassis.
Okay, so that's a clear no for the original Grasshopper. Forget the braces. Look for specific Grasshopper upgrades.
That's the sensible path, yeah.
Right. What about the Hornet, then? It's kind of related to the original Grasshopper suspension-wise.
It is, yeah. The Hornet uses a similar front-end swing axles, coil springs, and those very basic friction dampers instead of oil shocks.
And crucially, does it share the chassis tub with the original Grasshopper or the Grasshopper II?
It shares the same basic tub design as the original Grasshopper. It lacks those integrated shock tower structures found on the Grasshopper the Second and Rising Fighter.
Ah, okay, so it's the same problem as the original Grasshopper then.
Exactly the same reason. The Rising Fighter D-part braces need those specific mounting points on the chassis towers, and the Hornet simply doesn't have them.
So no go for the Hornet either.
Nope, not a direct fit by any means. Hornet upgrades usually focus on, well, Maybe fitting better dampers onto the existing mounts or doing work on the rear suspension, which is where it often needs more help anyway.
All right, let's recap for our listener. The rising fighter front shock post stabilizers, the braces, are a direct fit, almost like a factory upgrade for your Grasshopper the Second. Highly recommended if you can get the parts.
Definitely. Shared chassis makes it easy.
But unfortunately, they're not compatible with the original Grasshopper or the Hornet. The chassis designs are just too different in that specific area.
That's the long and short of it. Different platforms, different parts needed.
So if you own an original Grasshopper or a Hornet and want to improve the front end, you'll need to look at oil shocks or maybe aftermarket kits specifically made for those models.
Yeah, options exist, but those braces aren't one of them for the older chassis.
And this whole thing really shows how knowing the family tree, the lineage of these Tamiya models is super helpful in the RC hobby, right? Understanding which kits share a platform can unlock some really cool and sometimes simple modification possibilities.
Absolutely. It's all about that shared DNA between kits. The rising fighter braces are a perfect example, a small part, but a smart upgrade if you know it fits within that specific chassis family.
Makes you think, doesn't it? What other surprising, maybe overlooked part swaps might be out there, just waiting to be discovered if you dig into the shared parts between different models in your collection? Something to ponder.
Always more to explore.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.